Pokemon Legends Arceus is coming out soon, and I decided why not capitalize on that by making a few tier lists based off how much I like each Pokemon. And we're gonna start off with Generation 1, the one that I grew up with. Right off the bat, we've got Bulbasaur, and Bulbasaur is going into S tier because look at that adorable little face. It's so precious. The big eyes, the little fangs, and it's such a great indicator of what this series is all about, right? It's a reptile, and it's a plant. You can't see that anywhere else. It's kind of perfect. Ivysaur, I'm also going to place in S tier because it's a great little showcase of what evolution is like. The bulb on its back is starting to bloom, it's bigger, it's meaner looking, but it's still kind of cute. It's a very sleek design too, which unfortunately is why I don't really like Venusaur all that much. It's just kind of like a bigger, uglier Ivysaur. It's not terrible, and I'd be lying if I didn't have any form of nostalgia towards it. I'm gonna put it in B. Charmanter is baby. It is going into S tier. It's such a simple design. Like, it's really just an orange lizard with a fire on its tail, but it's still so cute. Like, you got the big eyes and the smile on that Sugimori art. It's perfect. Charmeleon is basically, what if Charmander was just a little shitbag? And for that, I'm gonna put him in A tier. You can tell that it's grown up, so to speak, because really, evolution just amounts to aging in Pokemon. And Charizard, to top everything off. I'm sorry, I'm on the Charizard bandwagon. It is so overglorified, but it looks fucking cool. Like, that face that looks like it is going to just mess your shit up. The design should not work. It's got tiny wings relative to its chunky body. There were only so few Dragon-type Pokemon back in the day, and Charizard is not a Dragon-type, bizarrely, but it looks like a much more badass dragon than Dragonite ever was, so I've got a soft spot for Charizard, even though Stealth Rock eats it alive. Squirtle's going into S tier. Like, all three of the Gen 1 starters are so cute! It's blue, it's round, I love the little tail, it's kind of swirly and bubbly looking. Perfect design. Wartortle's a bit underrated, I think. I think to a lot of people, like, it's a little too similar looking to Squirtle, but I do kind of like the misty, bubbly vibe that its color scheme and ears and tail kind of have. I'll put Wartortle in A. Blastoise. That is an S tier design. Cannons on its shell, just, this thing looks like a tank. Like, in Leaf Green, I literally named my Blastoise Tank. It's a tank of water, it is a tanky design. Who doesn't love Blastoise? Caterpie. I like its round little mouth. It's kind of cute. I'm gonna put Caterpie in A. Metapod. I have never liked Metapod's design. Like, I could never tell what way it's supposed to be facing. Like, the flat, smooth part, that's the front, it looks more like its back, and the back should be its nose, or something like that. C tier. Butterfree gets an S tier. Just the big, adorable, red, compound eyes. Weedle is less cute than Caterpie, but I do kind of like that it's got, like, a stinger on its head and its butt. Like, it kind of tells you right then and there it will mess you up, even though it's a tiny little bug. Just stay away from it. It's cute and it sets the stage for its evolution, is what I'm saying. I think Weedle belongs in A. Kakuna. Much better than Metapod. Like, that actually looks like what you would think a cocoon is supposed to be. And those eyes that just kind of say, oh, when I hatch, you're dead. Kakuna's a pretty great design. I'm gonna put it in A. Beedrill. This design is so silly, but exactly what you go into Pokemon for. S tier. It's got big stingers for hands that it realistically should not be able to hold up with its little stick arms. This thing would be my worst nightmare if it actually existed. Pidgey's a pretty standard bird. Not the most impressive design in the book. Like, some of the spikier edges on its design kind of make it feel very fluffy. But as far as other birds go, there are more with better personality. I'm gonna put it in B. Pidgeotto. Now I think the design is a lot more interesting, because now you've got, like, the red thrown into it. Just kind of makes it feel more like a bird of prey. I'm gonna put it in A. Pidgeot. Honestly, it just kind of feels like a bigger Pidgeotto. It just has longer hair. Pidgeot, I'm gonna put in B. Rattata. It's a purple rat. I was never too big on Rattata, to be honest. C. Raticate. I don't like it. I don't like its teeth. I don't like its face. It just looks like it's got rabies. D tier. Spearow looks a lot more interesting than Pidgey does to me. That is a face that says, I am going to cause some mischief. I am going to ruin your whole day. I'm gonna put you in A tier. Fearow, though, oh god, what an ugly design. I just don't like its neck. Like, it feels like it would just snap from too much effort. I mean, it's not gross like Raticate, so I'm gonna put it in C. Ekans. It's a snake. C tier. Arbok, not just a snake. Got the cool pattern, which is different in every generation and every location it's in. Those eyes look like they're boring into you. They've got this predatory gaze. Arbok's cool. I'm gonna put Arbok in S tier. Pikachu. Pikachu has been my favorite Pokemon since I was a kid. This Pikachu right here, this Pikachu plushie has been with me since I was like 6. It is like ripping apart at the seams in some places, like its cheek. It used to glow when you like pressed its hands, but it's been years since it was able to do that. We had to cut out its, like, battery box, and now it's a lot cuddlier because it doesn't have that in. Pikachu is shaped like a friend and is very soft, especially in the first generation where Pikachu was chubby. But the thing is, though, every Pikachu is good. There's a new Pikachu at the back, there's Detective Pikachu. Whatever form Pikachu takes, Pikachu is just wonderful. I love its rosy cheeks. The smile, like, the color scheme is very inviting and bright, but it's also got, like, the blacks that kind of make you think of a hornet. Yellow and black means danger. Pikachu's design is absolutely perfect. No matter whether you prefer chubby Pikachu or skinny Pikachu, Pikachu is always great. I'm going to put Pikachu in S+. Is he overplayed? Probably. I really don't care. I love Pikachu. Raichu. I feel bad that I have never, ever liked OG Raichu. It always kind of had, like, the face of a thug. I never liked how its ears were all pointy and stuff. Maybe I just never got over the anime episode where it was just a big old bully to Pikachu along with Lieutenant Surge. C. Maybe I would have liked it if they kept the original concept for Gorochu as an evolution to Raichu, but Sandshrew is also friggin' adorable! I'm going to put Sandshrew in S tier. Like, I like the round, cute designs, okay? Like, seeing this thing in the original Pokemon Snap just running around after you let it burst out of the ground, it's like a little excitable kid. Sandslash is just badass! I love how every spike just looks proportionate. It's a very cohesive design. Sandslash gets an S tier. Okay, both of the Nidorans I'm not really too fond of. Really, their best traits are expanded upon in each of their evolutions, so I'm gonna be generous and put Nidoran in C. Nidorina, just look at that sassy expression. Nidorina is like the Hime-sama Pokemon. This brat that expects to be treated like a queen. It gets an A. Nidoqueen is a little less good than Nidorina in my opinion, but it's mostly just coming down to the color scheme, and the blue and the yellow really just not appealing to me that much. It's not a bad design though, and it still looks like it could fuck you up. I'm gonna put it in B. Like I said, Nidoran, C. Nidorino, it's alright. I do kind of like the edgy, spiky design that it has, but it has a little less personality to it than Nidorina does. I'm gonna put it in B. Nidoking! Look at that purple! The spikes, the posture, it is just gonna tear you to pieces. Nidoking gets an S tier. Gotta. Nidoking was always one of my favorites, and it was one of the first Pokemon that made it into the Elite Four with me in my first playthrough of Pokemon Yellow all those years ago. So I've got a pretty big soft spot for Nidoking. Clefairy is really adorable. It's not hard to see why this was originally supposed to be like the mascot of Pokemon before Pikachu's popularity eclipsed it. I love the little fairy fangs that it has. It's got a nice cute little face. I like its eyes. It's got a very round design as well. I love those, as I've mentioned. You know what? Clefairy gets S tier. I'm not really too fond of Clefable by comparison, and I think it comes down to, like, the wings on its back. The jaggedness doesn't really mesh as well with how round the rest of the design is. Not terrible. I'm gonna put Clefable in B. I'm just going to go and straight up put every member of the Vulpix line in S tier. OG Vulpix is adorable. It looks so fluffy. It's adorable in Pokemon Snap, where you can just feed a whole group of Vulpix just apples, and they just, like, rear back. Ninetales is super graceful, while kind of retaining a sense of, like, regal dignity, and also a bit of danger in those eyes, befitting its origins as a kitsune. I love this line of Pokemon completely. Jigglypuff is also going to go into S tier because just look at it! It's round and it's so pink and it's got the blue eyes and like its personality in the anime is just it puffing up and looking so angry whenever people fall asleep. It's an effective gag! It puts everyone to sleep, thinks that, like, people are falling asleep because they're bored, it doesn't know its own strength. It's funny, okay? It's classic comedy. It works. Wigglytuff is just... It's so cute! It's a bunny! It's the Banui Pokemon! It's got the big ears, it still retains everything that made Jigglypuff so appealing. Like, it's still round, it's just bigger. I think my girlfriend would kill me if I didn't put these two Pokemon in S tier because they're her favorites. I have just guaranteed that I am not sleeping on the couch tonight. There's a little boomer humor for you. Zubat. Maybe it's because we're all used to seeing these things everywhere, in every cave. I don't really care about Zubat. It has no legs, it has no eyes. I guess it's distinctive enough, though. I'll put it in B. Golbat, though. That is a dope design. That mouth is... I just love how mischievous it looks. That's gonna go into S tier, for sure. Oddish. Simple design, but a really cute one. It's got no arms. It's a little unintentionally funny because, you know, it's got the weeds on its head. Its next form looks like it's kind of blazed out of its mind. I really like Oddish, though. I'm gonna put Oddish in A. Gloom, again, it looks like it is just high as balls. I don't know, like, the color scheme of Gloom and, by extension, Vileplume don't really appeal to me very much. I'm gonna put Gloom in B, and... Again, I don't really have a lot to say about Vileplume either, but, like, it's a giant flower head with a very round body underneath. It's cute enough, I think. I'm gonna put it in B. Paras. Okay, I like the concept of a bug that is slowly being parasitized. That's very, very creative, and it kind of makes you wonder, like, who is in control, the bug or the mushroom? What is the real Pokemon? These aren't particularly strong Pokemon, if I remember correctly. In fact, they might be just, like, very weak, but I like both Paras and Parasect's designs. I'm gonna put them both in A. I think Venonat may have actually been one of the first Pokemon I ever saw in the anime, because I think, like, maybe the first episode I ever saw was Ash fighting Koga. I like its big eyes, the cute little fangs. It looks very fuzzy. You just want to fluff this thing. I'm gonna put Venonat in A. Venomoth, the slayer of Dragonites everywhere. Shoutouts to Twitch Plays Pokemon, that old artifact of the internet. There are a lot of moth Pokemon out there, and Venomoth is one of the few that really gets it right. It looks like a very predatory kind of bug, but there's a certain grace to it as well. I'm gonna put Venomoth in A. Diglett's adorable. You gotta love the mystery surrounding, like, what is underneath the surface. Just got the little nose, the eyes. I'm gonna put Diglett in A. Dugtrio. It's 3 Diglets. I mean, it's still cute, but definitely one of the less creative evolutions out there. I'm gonna put it in B. Meowth is getting an S tier because look at this little shit. That face just screams, I am going to claw at your furniture and you are still going to love me. Of course, its role in the anime can't be ignored as Team Rocket's right-hand cat. Meowth's responsible for a lot of comedy and a few surprisingly kind of heartwarming moments, if I remember correctly. Meowth's an icon, come on. Persian is a big ol' snobby cat. Never really did anything for me. B tier. Psyduck's getting an S tier, man. I just love its perpetually clueless, stressed out expression. That is a vibe, especially going into 2022 after having dealt with 2 years of a pandemic. It just lying flat on its back and being pushed down a river in New Pokemon Snap. I feel you, man. Like, I've lived that for the past few years. It's a powerful image. Golduck. What a downgrade. Like, it has none of the personality of the original Psyduck. It's nowhere near as much of a vibe. It's very spiky. It's a big contrast to how round Psyduck was. The color scheme, it feels like it's a different evolutionary line, but I guess it's not. I'm gonna put Golduck in C. Mankey, aka the godsend against Brock in Pokemon Yellow. I don't know, I don't really have a lot to say about it. It's just kind of an angry monkey. It's a ball with arms and legs. I have never stopped to consider just how bizarre Mankey's design really is. It's not bad, though. I'll put it in B. Primeape. Now that's taking the Mankey design and just going full ham with it. This thing looks like if you so much as look at it funny, it will just punch the lights out of you. Primate, I think, belongs in A. Just a nice little realized design. Growlithe is fucking precious. S tier. Arcanine, big fluffy puppy. S tier. Poliwag is pretty cute. That sure is a tadpole. The sounds it makes in Pokemon Snap are pretty cute, I guess. A tier. Cute design. Poliwhirl and Poliwrath. Poliwrath is just a slightly more jacked Poliwhirl. It's less interesting and funny than Primeape is, so I don't know. I don't have much to say about Poliwhirl either, so I'm gonna put both of these in B. I like Abra's design a lot. I like the ambiguous kind of look of it, that it could be sleeping, or it could be, like, meditating on some kind of powerful psychic energy. Abra's an A tier, for sure. Cadabra. Now, that is a classic wizard-looking design, if I have ever seen one. The whiskers, the spoon kind of looking like a wand, which it can bend to show off its psychic prowess. Cadabra gets an S tier, as does Alakazam, with the whiskers just building on that. Machop kind of reminds me of just like the cute, gung-ho kid that wants to prove how strong he is. B tier is appropriate, I think. Same goes for Machoke. It's kind of got like a wrestler vibe. Feels like a natural extension of Machop. Again, B tier. Machamp, though, that is a Pokemon right there. 4 arms, that cocky-looking face that just radiates that energy that it's going to mess up everybody that comes to challenge it. Machamp gets an A tier. Bellsprout's pretty cute, right? Kind of has the vibe of, like, a pitcher plant. B tier. Weepinbell. This thing just, like, looks like it wants to die. If you took the pitcher plant aspect, but made it like it's flopping on the ground, it is just waiting for death. Just make a Werner Herzog documentary about that.
And then you see the Weepinbell immediately after its evolution. It flops on the ground and waits for predation by the Pidgeots in the neighboring habitat. The nature of the Weepinbell is a lonely and painful one.
I kinda love it though, I'm gonna put it in A tier. Victory Bell. Now we're talking. The angry eyes, the mouth that is constantly bared. This thing looks like that once that leaf lifts, it is going to just like snatch you up, gulp you whole. Dangerous looking. Cool as hell though. Victory Bell gets an S tier. Tentacruel. I kinda have the same feelings about it that I do Zubat. It's a jellyfish. Cool. B. Tentacruel is a little more interesting. Got the nose that looks like a stinger. It's okay. B. Geodude is a pretty clever design, I think. When you think of a rock, you think of something that is hard and would suck to get hit in the face with, so why not just make 2 fists made of rock? It's simple, but it works. I'm gonna put Geodude in A. Graveler. I'm not really as fond of it as I am Geodude, because I feel like Geodude did the rock monster thing a little better, and Machamp did the 4 arms better. Kind of feels like a bit of an artifact from the early development. B. Golem. This feels like a completely different Pokemon. Not a bad one, though. I'll put it in B. Like, I do like the spherical design, that it could turn into, like, a rolling ball of rock and potentially smash its opponents flat. Ponyta. It's a cute horse. I like its fiery mane. Easy A tier. I like Rapidash a lot, too. It's essentially a bigger Ponyta, but the longer mane of hair and the longer limbs give it a lot of grace to its movements, so I'm gonna give it an A tier. Slowpoke. Look at that dopey expression. You can't not love it. It's up there with Psyduck with, like, the vibe Pokemon. It gets an A. I like Slowbro a lot, too. The Shelder going around its tail and becoming a completely different organism entirely is a pretty neat concept. It's like it's a parasite, but they're mutually beneficial in a weird way. Meanwhile, just Slowbro's expression is even more placid than ever. It's still so endearing. I'm gonna put Slowbro in A tier. Magnemite. Throw it into the what the hell are you and how do you even exist column. I do kind of like the idea of, like, horseshoe magnets being kind of like limbs, especially because they've got different polarities. Its main body being like a steel ball bearing at least kind of makes it more than just, like, a horseshoe magnet with a face. It's pretty creative as far as Pokemon goes, so I'm gonna put it in A. Magneton, I don't know, like, I feel like, kind of like Dugtrio, I should think this is a step down, but I think this actually kind of works because you needn't look further than the original Pokemon Snap to see that, like, Magnemite plus magnets equals these things being stuck together. I think it works. I'm gonna put this one in A. Okay, Farfetch'd. After reading up on what this Pokemon is all about, I think it's kind of hilarious because it comes from a Japanese proverb that essentially means that, like, a duck that comes carrying green onions is basically walking towards its own death because it's like, oh hey, a duck! It's got green onions that I could cook it with. It's basically become synonymous with a foolish person who is walking towards a crappy fate. Much like you, playing the original Pokemon Red and Blue, trading for one of these, thinking that you're going to get this awesome Pokemon, but no, all you got was this weak little bird with a green onion. You just traded away a Spearow that could become a Fearow for that. I mean, it's not useful in battle at all, but the story behind it is pretty funny. It's silly, but in a fun, memorable, kind of thoughtful way. I'm gonna put it in B. Doduo. I like the round heads and the round body. It's very distinctive. Kind of makes me think of an ostrich. I'm gonna put it in B. Dodrio. I'm going to put this one in A, simply for the head on its left that always looks like it's got a permanent bruh face. Like, especially in new Pokemon Snap. Seal. Everyone comments on the fact that its name is just Seal, and it's a seal. It's not a particularly interesting seal either. Seal. Dugong, at least, has a certain majesticness to it. It's got a nice face. I'm gonna put Dugong in A. Grimer. It's a pile of sludge. C. Muck. It is a bigger pile of sludge. D. Shoulder's goofy looking. I like it. Big googly eyes and tongue. I'm gonna put it in A tier. Cloister. This thing looks dangerous. Like, it is saying, try to hunt for my innards, and I fucking stab you. I've always loved that mischievous grin. The shell, for whatever reason, looks genuinely like it's really hard to penetrate. Yeah, it's getting an S tier. Ghastly. What a great foray into ghost Pokemon. Gas is such a strange element because it seems like it doesn't have a specific form to it. It's all wispy, like you'd imagine a ghost to be. So for our first ghost Pokemon to essentially just be poison gas, that's kind of brilliant. The malevolent face, the giant eyes. I'm gonna put Ghastly in S tier. Haunter, I think, is a little less creative. It's all spiky. Actually, you know what? Its portrayal in the anime is entertaining enough, especially when it's like just sticking its tongue out and being just such a goober. It's going into A tier. Gengar. Woo! Woo-hoo! S fucking plus. Just that face looks like it is ready to cause so much mischief. Gengar is, like, absolutely one of my favorite Pokemon, period. I love that its whole design is basically taking the gas concept and making it, like, congeal into a doppelganger, a shadowy doppelganger that is lurking behind you, ready to strike at any moment. It even looks like a doppelganger of Clefable, hence its name, Gengar. Back when Clefable and Clefairy were, again, supposed to be the mascots. If it were another way, imagine if Pikachu were the mascot from the get-go, imagine this thing just being like a shadowy doppelganger of Pikachu or Raichu instead. I mean, in a weird way, we did kind of get that later down the road with Mimikyu, but it's such a simple design. Really, all you need are just the spiky ears and spines on its back and the face. And you know this thing means trouble. Fantastic character design. I love Gengar. Onix. It's such a great design that it fooled so many people for years into thinking that Onix was actually a useful Pokemon. Think about that. Let that sink in. Wake up, sheeple. So yeah, Onix in the games itself is really not great. Its defense is ridiculously high, but all of its other stats are, like, bottom tier. I'm going based off how much I like each Pokemon, and damn it, Onix just looks cool. S tier. It's a giant rock snake. Drowsy is often thought to be a very creepy looking Pokemon, but I kinda like its design, because it's based off the mythological tapir, which in Chinese and Japanese folklore is said to eat people's dreams. Although the tapir itself actually does exist. It's kinda like a pig-like creature. The snout and the idea of it, like, just devouring dreams through that snout, it is creepy, but it's kind of a clever spin on mythology, so you know what? I'm gonna put Drowsy in B. Hypno feels like a bit of a step back, honestly. Like, it's very on the nose. It's got the pendulum, although it still does kind of have the schnoz. I'm less hot on Hypno than I am with Drowsy, so I'm gonna put it in C. Who doesn't love Krabby, right? It's kind of got like a mischievous little look on its face, doesn't it? The eyes, the fangs. It looks like it's coming for your food, is what I mean. Krabby's pretty good. I'm gonna put it in B. I always liked Kingler. Like, that thing looks like if it got its teeth or its claws on you, like, it would hurt like crazy. This thing just looks dangerous. I'm gonna put it in A. Voltorb. Essentially the D&D mimic of Pokemon. It's a simple design, but I like it. Those eyes just spell out that you are about to have a bad time. It looks like you've pissed it off, you shouldn't have run into it, and now it's gonna blow up on you. I kinda like that. I'm gonna put it in B. Electrode. I like the manic grin that it has. It's basically just gonna say, you fucked up! It's so strange, like, it's gleeful about the fact that it's going to blow itself up. Again, I'm gonna put it in B. Execute. It's a bunch of eggs that have a hive mind. What? Points for creativity, I guess. D. Executor. Okay, now, this I can sort of get behind. A walking, monstrous pine tree. Pine tree. That throws bombs that are shaped like eggs at you. That's the kind of insanity I can kind of get behind. I'd put it in A. Cubone is also going to get an S tier because just look at this poor boy. It just wants to see its mom. And it's like beating you with its little bone. It's cute in a weird, macabre kind of way. Marowak is just kind of a bigger Cubone, though. I think B is appropriate. Hitmonlee. Honestly, I don't have a lot to say about Hitmonlee or Hitmonchan. They're a little too human-shaped for them to genuinely really interest me. Hitmonlee is a little goofier looking, which kind of gives it an edge over Hitmonchan. I'm gonna put them both in B. Lickitung, just... I kind of admire the audacity of making a Pokemon that bizarre and gross looking. I got nothing on this one. C, I guess. Coughing's an interesting Pokemon, I think. I like that it's floating because of the gases within it. It's got a very cheeky expression that says it's going to just poison everybody in the area, move in, and do whatever the hell it wants. I'm gonna put Coughing in B. Wheezing, again, it kind of suffers from Dugtrio syndrome, where it's essentially just multiple of the same Pokemon again. I do at least think there's something a bit more creative, because like some of the weird bonds that connect the different spheres that make up Wheezing kind of remind me of either like pipes or chemical bondings even. You know what, I think I'll give it a B. I like Rhyhorn a lot. Since you find it in the Safari Zone, it kind of does look like a Pokemon you would find on a safari, and for something that late game, it looks tough and something you'd really want to add to your team. Rhyhorn's gonna go in A. Rhydon, the first Pokemon ever designed. S tier. This thing looks like your archetypical Pokemon, so no wonder it was designed first. Like, the battle-ready expression, that its central horn is literally a drill. Rhydon's just badass. Chansey is just goddamn adorable. I'm putting it in S tier. It's always just got such a pleasant expression, carrying its egg, jumping for joy. In Pokemon Snap, just watching it skip along after an Eevee. It's so goddamn cute. Tangela. Who cares? It's green spaghetti. C. Kangaskhan. Speaking of powerful Pokemon that you'd find on a safari, Kangaskhan fits the bill pretty well, even if it is a normal type. It looks strong, it defends its children. Kangaroos can fuck your shit up. Put Kangaskhan in A tier. Horsey's just a cute little seahorse. It's a pleasant little design. I'm gonna put it in A tier. Seadra. I've always wondered why seahorses are said to be like dragons of the sea. I don't know, maybe they look more like Eastern dragons than a Western dragon, so it's probably a cultural barrier there. It looks somewhat meaner than OG Horsey. That's cute, though. I'm gonna put it in B. Goldeen! It's a pretty goldfish. B tier. Sea King! It's kind of a somewhat uglier goldfish. C tier. Staryu. Kind of a weird take on a starfish. I kind of like that it's got a very jeweled appearance that makes it look more otherworldly. sea creatures are bizarre, man. So that kind of endears Starmie and Staryu to me. So I'm gonna put Staryu and also Starmie in B. Between the two, I like Starmie's color scheme a little better. Makes it look like it's almost made of amethyst. Mr. Mime! For the longest time, I actually thought Mr. Mime was kinda cute looking, but oh my god, the way it's animated from Gen 6 onward is so unsettling. Oh, I hate looking at it. And then Mr. Mime's appearance in Detective Pikachu, it's the highlight of the movie. It's hilarious. So, there's stuff I love about Mr. Mime, and there's stuff that I really don't. I think that evens out to about a C. Scyther gets an S tier, just whew! Even though scythes are said to be one of the most impractical weapons ever, this thing looks like it could do serious damage with how mobile it is. It's bright green, it looks vicious. Who doesn't love Scyther? Jinx! Is it a racist stereotype? Is it supposed to be related to Norse myth? Like Hel or some kind of frost witch? I don't know. I'm just gonna slap this thing in D. Electabuzz, just a big ol' angry electric monkey. Not too big on it, to be honest. I like its pre-evolution and its evolution a lot more than this. I don't know, maybe it's just like the weird antenna ball things that don't really do it for me. C. Magmar. It's a big ol' fiery chicken, and not the best fiery chicken in this series. I kinda like Magmar's design. Like, it looks like it's very, like, billowy, if it makes any sense. It's very fluid, the fiery design that Magmar has. Am I making sense? I don't know, I don't really care. I'm putting this one in B. I like Magmar. Pinsir. Angry-looking stag beetle that looks like it's going to mess you up for interrupting its Minecraft sesh. Yeah. It's a cool design. A tier. Tauros. Big ol' angry bull. It's got 3 tails for some reason. I'd be interested to know the origin of that. It's not too bad. It's just kind of a bull. B. Magikarp. It's kind of ugly looking, but it's the funny kind of ugly looking where you just look at it, you just want to shake your head, but you still carry it on your team anyways because Gyarados kind of kicks ass. And it's instantly recognizable. It just flopping around. It's funny, and there's something to be said about its potential for growth. You know what? Magikarp gets an A. Gyarados. It's kind of badass, but also a little ugly looking. Like, it's got the whiskers on its face. They don't really do it for me. It's fun to get this thing super early in like a Nuzlocke and just feel invincible until there's an enemy that, I don't know, suddenly has like Charge Beam or something. And you cry. Yeah, Gyarados I'm gonna put an A tier. It's pretty badass looking. Lapras gets an S tier. I just love how majestic it looks. Like it's truly in tune with the people around it. It's serene, it seems very empathetic, like even in the anime it could communicate with Ash. I like some of the lore where it was an endangered species for a long time, but in recent generations, conservation efforts have actually allowed its population to rise again. Neat little eco-narrative there too. Plus just in general, I love sea dinosaurs. Like, those were always some of my favorites growing up. Ditto. You can't go wrong with that little simple smile, alright? It's cute. I'm gonna put Ditto in A. Eevee's an S tier. Come on. It's just a fluffy little fox puppy. Eevee is whatever it wants to be. Look at the kind, dark eyes. Vaporeon's got a very elegant design. Like, I don't know what I really think of the frills on it, but it feels like a mermaid. Vaporeon is clearly made for water. Really, really good design. Vaporeon's gonna go in S tier. Jolteon I'm not as fond of because I'm not really fond of, like, the jagged look to it. It looks cool. Jolteon's still a good Pokemon. I'm gonna put it in A. Flareon. One of the most disliked Eevee evolutions for how it works in battle. That is to say, not well. But god damn it, it is one of my favorite evolutions in terms of its design. It just looks so fluffy, even though touching it would probably burn your hand off. I don't care. It's cute. It's adorable. Flareon is going into S tier. Porygon did nothing wrong. A tier. Ammonite's alright. Just kind of looks like a smaller, less interesting version of what's to come. I don't really have a lot to say about it. I'm gonna put Ammonite in C. Omastar is pretty cool, though. That looks like a terror from the deep. Something horrifying that evolution decided just was not gonna fly anymore from here. Its like four-pronged mouth is kind of creepy looking. I really like Amistar. It's gonna go in A tier. I always liked Kabuto's more mysterious kind of design, like those glowing red eyes underneath its shadowy shell. I'm gonna put Kabuto in B. Kabutops is S tier. That thing will mess you up. It looks tough and rigid and sharp. Even its head looks like it could shank you if it tried hard enough. I just like Pokemon with sights for hands, okay? They're impractical as hell, but I don't know, maybe it could like try stabbing rather than slicing with them. It definitely looks like it could. Aerodactyl's kinda scary looking, and I love it. It looks less like a prehistoric bird, this demon that just wants to eat everything in its path. I'm gonna put Aerodactyl in A tier. Snorlax, taking some kind of award for having a great character arc, at least as far as his sprites go across the games. He starts off lying on his back, and then slowly over the games, he stands up, where he is today. And then Gen 7, where he just turns into Sloth from Full Metal Alchemist. Who doesn't love Snorlax? S tier. Articuno is going into S tier. It may not be great in battle, its typing may suck ass, but its design is so graceful, and I love the colors and... Okay, maybe I'm just putting this thing in S tier because in my first time playing Pokemon Yellow, I used my Master Ball on this thing, and it was my ace when fighting the Elite Four. Zapdos. I'm not too big on the super spiky looking designs, but I do kind of like how the jaggedness of it all makes it look like a bolt of lightning. Like, lightning alive! Not just the tail like on Pikachu, this thing just lives and breathes lightning. It's a really cool design. I'm gonna put it in A. Moltres, probably my least favorite of the three, but not a bad design, although Ho-Oh did the Phoenix thing better. I mean, it has to be a little more overtly fire-based because the focus was on how each legendary bird conveys its element. I'll put it in B. Dratini gets an S tier. Cute little Eastern dragon. You just want to hold this thing and kind of let it kind of rest along your head, being like a little buddy. Dragonair. S tier. Majestic as hell. The way it carries itself with this sleek grace. I wish they'd kind of kept that color scheme and sleekness when they went to Dragonite, but honestly, Dragonite's not too bad. It's doofy looking, but it does look cute and good. Like it wants to do good things to protect people. I think Dragonite gets a lot of hate, but it's a little less dignified than perhaps I would have liked. At least it's not that one bootleg Dragonite plushie that's kind of got the Dragonair style color scheme, but it's also got an extra pair of eyes on its neck. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. Dragonite gets an A. Mewtwo. It's goddamn Mewtwo. For every testosterone-addled kid in the 90s, this was like their Frieza. Just taking it to every one of your friends when you're battling with your old link cables. Just, I love its design where it looks like so sure of its power. Screw it, I'm gonna put Mewtwo in S+. Mewtwo kicks ass! And Mew... S tier, man! Mew is adorable. It's like a god, but it just wants to rest all day in its bubble and just kind of make friends and bounce around and be adorable. Mew is great. I love Mew. And that does it for Gen 1. This was another long video, holy crap. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be back for more of these for the later generations. By the time this video is done, Pokemon Legends Arceus should be out. I hope it's good. Hope you guys like it too. In the meantime, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.